Let's talk about Azure SQL, Structure Query Language, the language to communicate with the database management system, and how it works in Microsoft Azure or the cloud environment. How many types of Azure SQL is available there, and how to create them, how to operate them. That is what we are going to cover in this particular video. Let's begin. If you go to the Microsoft Azure portal and if you search the Azure SQL, you will be seeing three different kind of SQL databases. First is Azure SQL databases right here. The second is Managed Instance. Third is SQL with Virtual Machine. There is fourth type, which is SQL in Edge. This is a separate topic. We are not going to demo in this video, which is software as a service, and we are going to cover these on separate video. But for now, we'll be covering Azure SQL only here. The first I want to talk about the type of SQL, which is SQL Virtual Machine. So SQL Virtual Machine is service of IaaS. When we say the IaaS, that is infrastructure as a service. SQL Virtual Machine is infrastructure as a service. Whenever we say the infrastructure as a service, Microsoft will provide us hardware, network, and storage only, nothing else. So they will provide hardware, network, and storage, which is the infrastructure. And based on that, we have to create the virtual machine. We'll be creating virtual machine, and we'll be installing SQL Server and creating a database on top of it with that virtual machine. So that is what this SQL Virtual Machine is. So basically, we'll be creating virtual machine and we'll be installing SQL Server. So we have to pay virtual machine fee, and we also have to pay the SQL license. And on top of it, we have to manage our maintenance like backup, restore, configuration, patch up, and things like that, just like on-prem environment. So for that, this is considered a little expensive tool. This is one type of SQL available, where we are installing virtual machine and we will be installing SQL Server. The next type of SQL in Azure is SQL Database and Managed Instance. So these two are the platform as a service. When you say the platform as a service, we will have all the feature from the infrastructure as a service, plus we will be having the software and management from the Microsoft. So IaaS plus software and management. Basically, if you choose the SQL database or managed instance, we do not need to install virtual machine, and we do not need to install SSMS. So virtual machine or SSMS will be coming as a part of SQL database. We just need to configure the SQL database directly. And what is the difference between SQL database and managed instance? Is basically SQL database is good if you have kind of application, and that application required database feature, and that database does not require all the feature of database management system. In that scenario, we'll be choosing SQL database. But for managed instance, it will support, or it will have all the feature that in on-prem SQL environment. So with that being said, if we are talking about the migration, there is only two options available right here. Either we choose managed instance as a part of PaaS service, or we have to go to SQL with virtual machine. So these two will support all the feature, basically compatible with existing SQL for migration. However, for SQL database, if you choose this, there has many limitations, like it doesn't support SQL agent job and things like that. So this may not be the good option to choose. So I have a little bit more item in detail here. So in left hand side, I have infrastructure as a service, which has fully controlled environment. Basically, we will be installing virtual machine, we will install SQL Server, we will manage those, we will run SQL Server within a virtual machine, right? So we will configure everything, we will have the SQL agent job. So this is basically lift and shift. If you want talking about the lift and shift, this is the place to go. And for the PaaS services, and I have in middle here, this is managed instance versus this is SQL database. So difference between managed instance and SQL database is in SQL database there is not much, everything is same, but except like managed instance have all the feature available, competitive feature available in SQL on-prem environment, and SQL database may not have those. Like I said, it doesn't support SQL agent job and things like that. Everything else is good. Why you need the SQL database? Like I mentioned earlier, if you have some kind of application that require quick database support, then SQL database is place to go. And these SQL database PaaS services, managed instance and SQL database are the auto scale. That means we don't need to configure a much. If you need more space or things like that, it will be automatically go up and down. However, if you choose the IaaS, that will feature will not be in here. If you are talking about the migrating on-prem environment to SQL, I think managed instance is the place to go. This is the best place because it has all the available compatible feature right here. But this is another expensive tool as well. We have to watch out before we proceed. So let's with that being said, let's jump into our demo. With that being said, I'm going to go to my Azure portal and I'll show you how to create them and how it's going to look like once we create them. Okay, so if I go to the home page and then what I need to do is I have to search Azure SQL, as I said, and I can create the Azure SQL here, and I can have three different options. As I said, SQL database is platform as a service, so I can start single database. I can start elastic pool. Also, I can create the database server, right? So I am gonna demo with a single database here. Let me do this. I'm gonna go here, and then parallelly, I'm gonna create the parallelly. I'll be creating IaaS as well, which is virtual machine, SQL in virtual machine. So for that, I need two of these. All right. So in this tab, I select a single database, and I'm gonna create those single databases. And in this tab, I will be creating virtual machine, SQL Server in virtual machine. So for that, I'm gonna choose free SQL Server license for 2022 on Windows Server 2022. I'll be choosing this, and I'm gonna say create. And then I'm not gonna show the managed instance because it's gonna take uh, multiple hours to deploy this. So I'm gonna show you SQL database and virtual machine in this particular video. So for I already chose free SQL license for SQL Server 2022 developer for on Windows. So this was choose, and I'm gonna say as a create. Click on create. Once I click on create, it will ask to choose the subscription. I choose my MSDN subscription. I will be creating my resource group. I'm gonna choose my Dilip RG. Virtual machine name. I'm gonna say VM. I'm going to choose a region. I'm going to have this virtual machine on East US. I want to say availability zone. I'm going to say no inspector for now. We'll be choosing any of the following based on we need. And for image, since I will be creating on Windows, so I need to choose on Windows Server 2022. This one. And I'll be using 64 GB. And then for size, I will have the multiple size. I'll just say the standard one for now. And I'm giving the server username is this, and I'm going to give my password. Okay. And then I will be opening through RDP on this virtual machine. This is the basic. I can go to the next as a disk configuration. I can choose operating system as I need. I'm gonna keep mostly this same, mostly like by default one. Delete with VM is turn on, and things like that. I'm gonna go to networking. It automatically create the VN virtual network for me. It automatically created the subnet for me as well for that my VM. I'm not gonna do anything here. Selecting the inbound port is RDP. It's good. In management, I can enable auto shutdown or disable it. Anyway, I'm gonna delete this virtual machine at the end of this session, so I'm gonna keep edges. You don't need to do anything here. Enable backup. If you want to enable the backup for this virtual machine, you have to click here. But, disaster recovery, you gotta do this. For monitoring tab, what else you want to do it? You will be enable with the manage storage account, which is recommended. I'm gonna keep the same. For advanced, I will not be do anything here. And then tag. I'm gonna do anything there, and then I'm gonna do the review and create and create the validation pass here, and then I will be creating. So it will take virtual machine is deploying right now, so it will take maybe 5 to 10 minutes for this deployment. Once this deployment completed, I'll show you on the next. While this is deploying, I'm going to create the next SQL database, which is platform as a service, like we discussed here. We just completed this part. All right. Now I am gonna show you this part. Okay. For that, I choose a single database. I'm gonna hit create. It will be the same, exact same process. You have to choose MSDN subscription. You gotta choose your resource group. Yeah, this is my resource group. The only difference between virtual machine and SQL database is your configuration is way less, because configuring virtual machine has many other steps, but we are configuring database only here. We are not configuring virtual machine. We are not configuring SQL Server. We are configuring database. We are building a database actually. So I'm gonna give the database name like advanced work DB, right? And then it will ask, I do not have the server, so I need to create the server. So it's going to be Dilip advanced work. It says it cannot be in lower uppercase, so I'm going to give all lower as a server name. Okay, it's matched. And location, I will be using, your subscription doesn't have the access to, so I'm going to choose some other location, like let's say some other location. Australia East. My subscription doesn't like East US, so I'm going to create this database on Australia East zone. Microsoft intra only authentication. I can choose some other authentication. Intra admin. I'm going to select the one admin. I have to choose the admin. If I have my name, I can put my name. But for now, just for this demo, I can have somebody like Ben. I'm going to delete this anyway. After creating this, so it's just randomly there. The next step here is this. Those are the basics. With that being said, my price is this to compute price. So I'm gonna go to the network. I need to give the public endpoint so I can access this database from my computer. I will be allowing my firewall, adding the firewall rule. I also want to add IP address, so I should be able to connect from this local computer to on this database. This database will be on East Australia. So I want to enable this to feature firewall and IP address. This transport level security is just taking the latest one, 1.2. What else? On security, start with free trial, not now. I'm gonna do not now. Server is not configure, server database level key. We're not gonna configure this thing. Additional setting for data source. If I want to restore a backup while creating the database, I can do so, and I can select the backup from here. Or if I want to have the sample databases from advanced work DB, I can choose the sample and click on OK. So I'm going to select the sample here. So when we create this database, the sample data will be in there. And then tag. The tag is basically I can put some value for my end. So all of the item that I created within one group and one tag, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna click review and create, and then create. So here we're just creating the database. The other tab. So this is database is deployment process. The other tab, this is completed. This deployment, the virtual machine deployment is completed. So if I go to since the DB is in progress, deployment progress, I'm going to go to the virtual machine, which is already completed. So I'm going to go to the resource, and I can see my configuration from here. Virtual machine name, agent version, private IP address, public IP address, right? And then CPU, RAM size, things like that, how I configure it. And in order to connect this virtual machine, I have to go to the connect button. And it will, once I click on connect, it will create the RDP file, and I have to download that RDP file. So IRDB file is downloading on my computer. So I need to open that RDB file. So RDB file is click on connect, and then I'm going to give the password. Okay, virtual machine is coming. This is just like my computer. With this virtual machine, SQL Server come along the way because I selected that SQL Server with this virtual machine. So I'm going to maximize that. Do you want to allow the PC to be discovery other PC? Yes. The virtual machine is almost ready. I just so this is just like your computer. You can do anything from here. Right away, I can start my SQL work from here. So SQL is already installed as a part of the virtual machine install. So if I search SQL or SSMS, okay, my virtual machine is just refreshed here. So when you type the SSMS, the virtual machine already have SSMS installed there. So it's just opening SQL Server Management Studio automatically. So the virtual machine will include the SQL Server Management Studio. That is what I try to um, say here. It will take a minute or so to open the SSMS in this virtual machine. Okay, so I just need to give the server name, and I can actually the server name is automatically popped up. I just need to select the mandatory and trust service certificate, or I can choose the optional to use SQL Server 2022. With that being said, I was able to connect my SQL just like we have been doing with other system. So I can do all those activity. Since I have database, Advanced Work Database install that I have selected. So if I go to the database folder, I should be able to see the Advanced Work Database as well. So this is about a virtual machine. Okay, infrastructure is a service. So this is about we just have done what I have done is we have created SQL Server with the virtual machine, and that's way we install the virtual machine, and virtual machine have the SQL Server. That this right hand side part was just completed. Okay, now I will show you other. So in other tab, I created the database using PaaS service. So this was deployed again, deployment completed successfully. So now if I go to the resource here, so we created the database. So we do not need to have SQL here. Is SQL already installed? We can start, and we created database. Now what we can do? We can go to this query window, and for and let's see ML comment. Let me see if my username and password is works. Sounds like there is something is wrong with the username and password that I have. Okay. Looks like there is my login and password doesn't match here. Otherwise, once I use the login and password, what will is going to do is going to open the window, so where we can do all the SQL related activity like DML, DDL activity, create table, store procedure and things like that here. So this is how it looks like and different. There's a database using SQL database. This is what we just discussed, right? So this is what we just discussed, and I showed you earlier how we can do it and how it looks like. So these are the two things I just demo with this video, and this is all I want to share as a part of this video. This is all about the Azure SQL. The final note, we'll have again three types of SQL that offer from the Azure SQL. There's first is Azure SQL with virtual machine. Second is SQL Database. Third is Managed Instance. Okay, that's all I want to cover it. Thank you so much for your time. Bye for now.